back to my channel, Bounded and Bookmarked. I'm Jaleesa. Yeah, that was a lot of energy just now that I had at daggone freaking 1:14 in the morning. Not important. What is important is that this video is the mid-year book freakout tag. Before we get into this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you have not yet already. And also, don't forget to... That was it. Oh, follow me on Instagram and Twitter. No, that's it. The mid-year book freakout tag is a tag that happens every year. I've only done it once last year, my first year of booktube, and now I'm doing it for the second time, which is pretty freaking cool. Can I just say that I am not quite freaking out because it's the middle of the year, but I feel like my birthday last year just happened yesterday, and the fact that next month is my birthday month kind of does blow my mind a little bit, because like, where did the time go? I spent majority of the year and some change in these four walls, so it is kind of, you know, maybe I am freaking out on the inside. Let me just look at the questions, because I don't even know what I'm supposed to even be answering. I don't have my books anywhere near me. I have one book right here and haven't even read this one, so that's not going to be a part of this questionnaire unless you have a question that says name a book that you haven't finished yet. So, best book I've read so far, best sequel. Okay. Let me go find my books really fast and then I'll be like right back. So, the first question is the best book I've read in 2021. This book should come as no surprise to any of you. If you literally at all pay any attention to me, then you should know exactly what I'm gonna say. And on three, 1, 2, 3, Amari and the Night Brothers. There's literally no other perfect book out there for me. Like, this was the perfect book for me. It's so daggone incredible. Oh my gosh, get into this cover, get into this book if you haven't yet. If you wanna know what it's about, I'm gonna tell you. I also have a vlog on this book and you should definitely watch it. This book follows Amari, and she is a 12-year-old girl who, her older brother goes missing, and she finds out that he ended up having like the secret life at this school, and this school is called the Bureau of Supernatural Affairs, and kids go there because they have this enhanced ability to do different things. And so Amari's powers start to manifest themselves, and she finds out that she has powers that are absolutely illegal. She's not supposed to have this power. And so she goes to the school to find out where her brother is, what happened to him. And along the way, she has like these adventures. She meets different kids at the school, some who are out to get her, some who are out to be her friend. And so it is just so much fun. It's a great mixture between Men in Black and Spy Kids and just all things you love about adventurous stories. And it's in middle grade. I cannot say enough amazing things about this book. I'm getting emotional. No, I'm not. But I'm getting dramatic. Yes, I am. The writing in this book was flawless. I cannot complain at all about anything in this story, except that the second one is not yet BB, and I need to know when it's gonna be out. Just support this author, support this story, support this book, support Amari. It is amazing. It's incredible. And I can spend this whole video talking about her and talking about BB in this book, and I won't, because it's not the time for that, but I have a vlog for that. So check it out, okay? Moving right along. The next question is the best sequel I've read in 2021. Let me check my Goodreads. I don't think I've read a sequel in 2021. Well, okay, I have, but like that one sucked. I have not yet read a sequel that I enjoyed in 2021. So I can't answer that question. The next question is a new release you haven't read yet but want to, and gosh, there are so many. Where do I start? Obviously, Ace of Spades is the first one. This book is literally everywhere. Everyone's talking about it. Everyone's loving it. I mean, this week alone, I think I've seen like 20, okay, that's exaggerating, like 5 posts about this book and how incredible it is. I want to read it. I actually just ordered it, so it should be here literally in 2 days. I really want to also get into The Right Side of Reckless by Whitney Grandison. I read a book by Whitney last year and I really enjoyed the story. She writes YA romances. So The Right Side of Reckless follows these two characters, and I don't even want to try to say his name because I don't want to mess it up. The main characters are polar opposites. The boy, he is the bad boy next door. She's a good girl who follows all the rules. Her parents are warning her to stay away from this boy, and she just can't, she won't. It's your typical parents say don't do it and you do it anyway, you know? And they find friendship and relationships and love and romance amongst each other. And so it's a very cliche topic, cliche theme, cliche trope, but I love that. I eat it up. I don't care what anyone says. I love it. I love the good girl bad boy trope. It comes out, I believe, in July. I'm not gonna go through all the books that I would want to read that are coming out because there's like freaking so many. So I just did 2. Ace of Spades and The Right Side of Reckless. There you have it, folks. Okay, what is the next question? Okay, so the next question is most anticipated release for the second half of the year. Most definitely Jade Legacy. As you all know, I read Jade City and Jade War last year. Loved them both. Like, I mean, such incredible writing. Y'all know I do not read fantasies without romance in them. Fonda Lee is a genius. Her writing is magnificent. I'm looking forward to Jade Legacy. legacy for sure, but it's just a continuation of the story of Jade City, which Jade City follows these two clans. And basically in the world of Ketcon, you have Jade Green, and Jade is like really prestigious, and only certain people in this world though can wear jade. They're called green bones. People are trying to steal this jade, and you have two different clans who are kind of fighting for this land, this area, and it's so good. It will give you the action, the politics, and everything is so well crafted, and it's such a detailed story, so you should definitely get into it. My biggest disappointment from 2021 so far. I have two of these, and a lot of you are going to be really surprised by one of them and not so surprised by the other one. Listen, y'all know how much I love JLA and how much I love From Blood and Ash. Y'all know that I loved A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire. It was just, ooh, it was peak sexy fantasy romance. However, the first book that I was the most disappointed with this year, The Crown and Gilded Bone by Jennifer L. Armentrout. As you can see, I have a bookmark here. That's how far I got into this book. I haven't read past this yet. So I got to page 203, and I hate to say this, so let me just back up for a second. For those of you who are not aware of what From Blood and Ash's whole series is about, it follows this girl Poppy, who's the maiden. Basically what that means is she was supposed to be untouched, pure, because she was basically the catalyst for what we call an ascension. Basically the ascension is when these people become immortal. So she's very important to the people of wherever the freak she lives. I forgot where she lives, but she's very important to people in that land. More things happen. I can't tell you because that would be spoilers, but this third book follows Poppy and mainly Castile, and the two of them are traveling to Atlantia. A lot of secrets are supposed to be uncovered here, but here's why this book was so disappointing for me. In the first 100 pages, the writing style was very lax, and I feel like as you go on in a series, your writing should definitely improve with each book. It shouldn't regress, and I feel like it did in the story. Leave some room for wonder, and I just didn't have that. So this next book should come as no surprise, because y'all know I hate the second book. I did receive the third book, and I had high hopes of the first book. It was amazing to me. Like, it gave me everything in my old teenage self would have ate up and loved, and I loved it as an adult, you know. I really enjoyed it. Second book I hated. The third book, the premise felt like it would get better, but it just felt like it got worse for me, and that book is Covet by Tracy Wolff. This is the third book in the Crave series. Crave follows this girl Grace and this guy Jackson. Grace is a teenager who goes to the school called Cadmere Academy after her parents have been killed, and she finds out all these different secrets about different creatures, and basically like vampires and werewolves and gargoyles, and she learns about witches. She learns about the supernatural world. She's thrust into it very quickly, and she of course falls for the vampire like all the girls do. This book I DNF'd at like 3 something, so more than halfway, and nothing was happening in the story. There's so much potential. I know what I like to read and what I don't like to read, so I will say good writing is very subjective in a sense. It is, because some people love this freaking book and love the story. I don't think it's good writing at all. I hated it, so there's that. My biggest surprise of the year. So for me, the biggest surprise of 2021 was definitely reading The Cruel Prince by Holly Black, and here's why. So many of you always talk about Cardan's tail, and I'm always like, what do y'all mean? Like, no one likes the story because he has a tail and it's weird for people. Number one, it didn't bother me at all. But the reason why this book was a big surprise for me was because this book featured a true enemies to lovers situation, which I'm not at the lovers part yet, but I know eventually they get together, Jude and Cardan. The biggest surprise was like not liking the enemies to romance part of this story, but loving everything else. It was very enjoyable, and I feel like it was a strong and very solid first book in a series. But Jude tops every female protagonist I've read in any story, any fantasy story, because she takes no crap. I was surprised that I enjoyed the book as much as I did, because I've heard so many mixed feelings about this story, because they don't like the bully part of the romance. I don't care about the romance at all. Like, I literally don't want to keep reading this story because of the romance. I'm reading because of Jude. It was just really well done overall, and so it set up the story very nicely. The next question is newest favorite author. This again should come as no surprise to any of you, but B.B. Alston. He's only written one book that I've read, and I literally don't care. I just know that anything else he puts out is going to be so amazing. Newest fictional crush. Actually, I have 2. And so the first one is Tom from the book Take Me by Jennilynn. I read this back in February, and it's a polyamory curious book about this young couple who is kind of having like a rocky relationship in their marriage, and they just feel like they need to explore other options, other avenues of happiness. The main character Cassie ends up basically dating her friend slash co-worker Tom, but Tom is one of my fictional crushes because he's like this nerdy guy who's very into tech, very reserved, but Tom was like the kind of guy who was like really quiet, but like when it got time to get down, he was you know, ready to get down. And I just love that, which leads me into my next crush, which is very similar to Tom's character actually, which is really funny to me, and that would be Alex from People We Meet on Vacation. Alex's character was so funny to me because he's another Tom. He's very unfamiliar with social media, not really in the dating pool like that. He's focused on himself, on his work. He's definitely like a similar kind of character, but he's just so sweet. So Tom and Alex are honestly like the same kind of characters. They're my fictional crushes. Okay, moving on. Newest favorite character. So I have a few of these. The first one being Amari. Number one, she reminds me of myself as a kid. Very curious, but also very willing to step out there and just go for something, not be afraid to do it. I'm a fighter when it comes to people that I love and care about, and I will go to the ends of the earth to do what I can for the people that I love. And Amari is the same way. Next we have, the book is like on my bookshelf. I'm not gonna go get it right now, but then we have the one and only Emma Carstairs and Julian Blackthorne. That was like two people, not one and only. That was stupid. That doesn't make sense, but I love them. So Emma Carstairs, she's like a miniature version of Jude. Emma will fight for everything and everyone and will not go down without a fight. Julian is lovable. He loves Emma. He protects her with his whole life. They're pair baptized. I love them so much. Wow, if you haven't read Dark Artifices, definitely should read it. I've only read book one, and Lady Midnight follows 5 years after the City of Heavenly Fire, and that is the last book in the Mortal Instruments, and it follows Julian and Emma, who are trying to work together to figure out who was behind Emma's parents' murder. So that's like the whole gist of the story. But anyway, I loved it. It's part of the Shadowhunter series, and I love Emma. I love Julian. I love their friendship. I feel like they're such strong and fleshed out and just wonderful characters. I feel like they were given time to be defined as people, to have characteristics that were just so specific to them, and it just made the story so freaking great. Next, a book that made me cry. So I have two of those. So the first book I kind of already talked about briefly, but that is People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. And this book follows Poppy and Alex, two best friends who've been friends for literally years. They're now in their 30s, and they have always took a trip together in the summertime, and something happens one summer and their friendship falls apart. We don't know what it is till the very end. Poppy takes one last trip and she asks Alex to come with her, and he does, and so we get to figure out like how their relationship has changed over the years. It was a great story about adulthood and how time can change you as an individual, but can also change your friendships with people. And their friendship is beautiful. Their love and their romance is even better. I need a novella or something about them. I don't know. It was just a really beautiful story. The next book that made me cry this year was Some of the Now by Sarah Everett. So this book I have compared in the past to Summer I Turned Pretty trilogy by Jennilynn, because the stories are very similar. You have Jessie, who gets kind of adopted into the family of her best friends. The Cohen boy's mother is sick. She has cancer, I believe, and she is dying. And so you have Luke Cohen and Rowan Cohen, and Rowan is Jessie's best friend. Luke is like the older brother by 1 year, and he kind of sees her in like a more than friendly way, but they both have different relationships with Jessie. And so what we see in this book is how loss and tragedy can really pull people apart and can really ruin people's lives if they let it. And then also this book kind of tackles postpartum depression and what that's like for the child, and it's just a really beautiful story about family and friendship and love and loss, and how to work through all these different things as teenagers and as adults as well. And I cried for multiple reasons. I cried for multiple people. Like when I tell y'all, this book took me on an emotional roller coaster. Like it was up and down and all over the place. Like I was a mess. I was a wreck. I'm tired, but I'm almost done. Melissa, you can do this. What's the next question? A book that made me happy. This book made me so happy. This book was like shockingly happy for me, because I never intended on reading it until like I saw everyone else reading it and everyone was loving it. I was like, what the heck, I want to love it. So that book is Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. Listen, I chose the first one specifically because this first book made me smile the entire way through. I loved it. I smiled the entire time. I was so happy because it was just serotonin. Like it was just nothing but happiness, and it follows these boys named Nick and Charlie who become friends, and they have this really great friendship slash bond, and it's just so beautiful and it's so cute and it's so sweet and it's so happy. It's a graphic novel that I can literally read over and over again. Okay, so the next question is, it's not even a question, it's like a statement. The most beautiful book you've bought slash received this year. So that actually is quite easy for me. The Illumicrate edition of In Ravenous Dark by A.M. Strickland. This book is beautiful. I told y'all that I really love like the glossy flowery skull here on the matte background. I don't know what it is. Matte backgrounds just really do it for me. I love it. Also, stenciled edges, my first one. It has really nice end papers. Even without the stenciled edges, I mean the cover itself is just really beautiful. What books do I need to read by the end of the year? All of them. I mean, honestly, I could go through a list of the books I need to read, but that would be like a long video. So I did specifically pick 4 books that I think are like on my radar right now. I'm not gonna go through synopses though because I just don't want to. So the first book is Black Sun by Rebecca Warrenhurst. The reason why this book is like first on this list is because I want to read it really bad. I haven't been reading fantasy lately. I've been reading a lot of contemporaries lately and romance. So I'm trying to get back into my fantasy stuff. And this will be one of the first ones that I read. I've heard so many great things, especially in the beginning of the year, about Black Sun. So the next book that I definitely plan on reading this year, it comes out in September, so it's not yet out. And that book is For All Time by Shannon Miles, but it's a young adult novel. And it follows these 2 characters, Tamar and Fayard, and they live like multiple lives, and so they've seen, you know, the Civil War, they've watched humanity build themselves back up again, they have literally been through it all, and each kind of phase of their life they have a love story that's playing out. They never see how the love story ends, I guess, until they finally figure out what it's going to take to break that cycle of like never-ending love that never comes to completion. And so I guess it requires some kind of sacrifice on their part, and they're having to decide if they can make the sacrifice. So it sounds like it's going to be like a really beautiful story. I feel like it'll take me on this really long journey of just different moments of history, how that has shaped their love and their romance. I can't wait to see how each time their romance is different. So excited for it. The cover is so cute. The next book on my list, Scythe by Neil Schusterman. I've heard stellar reviews about this book. I am currently reading a sci-fi novel that I'm really enjoying, and it's making me believe that I might like sci-fi more than I originally thought I was going to. I was very nervous to read sci-fi just because I don't read it, I usually watch it. Like, I love sci-fi movies. Sci-fi in the stories always felt very daunting to me, but now that I know that I'm enjoying this one that I'm currently reading, I think I'm gonna love Scythe a lot. And the last book that I'm looking forward to reading this year, not the last book really, but the last book for this video for today, is Getting the Knife by Tasmin Mir. I've said it before, I'm gonna say it again. The cover of this book is hot. Anyway, moving on. So I don't know the exact details of the story. I just know that it's sapphic, it's got necromancy, it's got a really cool cover. I plan on reading it actually in June. If not June, definitely July. So anyway, so yeah, that's it right now. I feel like I'm ending this video so awkwardly. I think I'm just really sleepy. It's 2:13 now in the morning, and I just wasn't expecting to be recording still this late, so I don't even know how to talk or how to end the video. So I'm just gonna say happy mid-year book freak out. I hope that you're all freaking out over these videos. I'm gonna go binge like these tomorrow because I love the mid-year book freak out tag. Yeah, like I always say, I'll see you in my next video.